My apologies. Hello and welcome to episode 79 of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week, of course, we're delving into all the topics of new releases for the week, a handful of trailers from the week, and a few short news stories for the week as well of all things media. So let's not waste too much time, and let's get talking into everything that came out from just this week.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
So let us of course start with a film that has been on the minds of many for a really long time due to long development, the drama behind the scenes involving divorces, affairs, drama, and diva behavior, as well as overdoing it on the behind the scenes photos has gotten way too overdone. I feel like I've seen both movies at this point from just the constant posting on social media. We have the release of a film that we will see that anyone deserves a chance to fly, as after a long delay in development, we finally have the release of the film that will see the adaptation of Part 1 to Wicked. The film will tell the story of the witches of the land of Oz, with the main focus on Elphaba, played by Cynthia Erivo, a young woman who is outcast due to her green skin, where she attends Shiz Academy to be there for her sister Nessaros, and will soon form an unlikely but profound friendship with Glinda, played by Ariana Grande, a student with an unflinching desire for popularity. Soon following an encounter with the Wizard of Oz, their relationship soon reaches a crossroads. Their lives begin to take very different paths. Reception to this film has garnered some very strong positive reception, with praise to the performances, particularly of the main leads of the two girls, the production design, musical numbers, and respect to the stage production. Though some have criticized the length of the film, a little bit of the case that the lighting and some aspects of production design feels a little bit here and there with the pacing, and some could have said they could have made this entire film in just one film, because the film in particular is the same length as the actual musical of 2 hours and 40 minutes. But I guess it happens with some adaptations, and if you want to take flight, you can catch Part 1 out now in cinemas, with Part 2 releasing in about a year's time. And onto the only TV series for this week, we are heading back to the centuries past, to the dawn of conflict, power control, and foreseeing the future of a possible prophet that will unite or destroy the people, as we are heading back to the world of Arrakis and other planets in the system, as we have the start of the new series of Dune Prophecy. The series will take place 10,000 years before the birth of Paul Atreides, and the series will focus on two Harkonnen sisters as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish the fabled sect known as the Bene Gesserits. Reception to the series from the first couple of episodes have been modestly received, with praise to the performances and building of more lore. A lot of critics are more pointing to the film that the series feels kind of cheap compared to the two films and for HBO standards, and a lot less of action heavy or missing elements of the books that would have benefited from the adaptation. But if you want to see it for yourself, you can catch the series now every Sunday night on HBO in the US, and on late Sunday, early Monday morning on Sky Atlantic here in the UK and Ireland. And our only game for this week that I can find any information on is one that had a few delays from an early concept from about a decade ago that was thought to have been cancelled, then revived, and now finally, after a few delays from conflicts and wars and everything like that, it is time to put on the protective gear and hazmat suits and check the radiation levels as we head to a deadly nuclear no-go zone, as we have the release of the long-awaited sequel to Stalker with Heart of Chernobyl. The plot of the game will see you play as a lone survivor, you exploring a unique post-apocalyptic world, and will decide who will get a bullet and who is worth a helping hand, while making decisions to make sure that many choices and actions will have their own, sometimes far from the obvious, consequences. Reception to the game has had a bit of a little mixed reception, praise to the world and gameplay and some elements of the story, but the game has been seeing a lot of issues in the form of bugs and glitches and sort of improper functional AI in the games that will be fixed in due time according to the studios. But if you're up for exploring the dangerous world, then you can play it now on Xbox Series X and S and PC. And some other games I know that apparently are out that I can't really find any information on reception to is we got My Sims bundle now on the Switch version of Stray, as well as the case of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which has garnered a bit of a underwhelming reception from audiences. But with all of them, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
I'm the bad guy. Duh.
So starting the trailers for this week is with a film that you would expect to see from the likes of the massive company like Disney doing something like this, but this time it is roped off on another company with their initial focus on simple animated films, but decided to take flight with a live action remake as we received a trailer for a live action version of How to Train Your Dragon. For those who may not know about the book series or original trilogy of films, the story follows Hiccup, played by Mason Thames, a young son of the Viking chief of Stoic the Vast, once again played by Gerard Butler, and the hometown of Berk, who constantly have a grudge and vendetta against an armada of dragons who will defy centuries of tradition when he captures and befriends Toothless, a feared dragon known as a Night Fury, where their unlikely bond will reveal the true nature of the dragons and challenge the very foundation of the Viking society. So it's a case I do like the original films, and the other two entries I have my mixed thoughts on, where I say the 2 is kind of underwhelming and the third is a valid send-off for the series. But I feel it looks visually great so far, but need to see more to make a proper decision. I'm sure we will see more as the film flies itself into cinemas from June 13th next year. Our second trailer for the week is an all-new look at a film that, caused a bit of the opinionated piece from the initial trailer back a couple of weeks ago. That has now built itself an all-new look with a better focus on the plot, as we've been built an all-new look and trailer for a Minecraft movie. The film follows 4 misfits of Garrett Garbage Man Garrison, Henry, Natalie, and Dawn. 4 different people struggling with ordinary problems, all getting suddenly sucked through a mysterious portal to the overworld, a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives in imagination. And in order to get back home, when they have to master this world and save it from evil while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected expert crafter named Steve. Now, on the likes of the original trailer was one that was a little mixed on where I felt the world and method of bringing the cubic world to life practically was really interesting. And I liked that aspect, but the aspects of the human characters and some of the animal designs looked a little weird. But with this new trailer they dropped, there's a bit more of an appeal. I think the film may not be the biggest disaster that will probably come out. It might have some entertainment value to it. I'm gonna give some optimistic hope to it in the case. And it gives a better idea of the story and plot. And I'm actually looking forward to see how this turns out. But we'll ever check out when the film releases in the cinemas from April 4th next year. The next trailer is the first of 2 trailers coming to us from my all-time favorite studios of Pixar. And it's taking us back into the world and mind of a young child to see what is really going on inside their heads. But instead of focusing on the emotions, we're delving more in the area of what we see when we close our eyes, as we receive the trailer for a new limited series based in the world of Inside Out with Dream Productions. Now the series will take us to the Dream Productions studio deep in the mind of Riley over in long term, as we follow the likes of a documentary style film crew. They follow around the creatives at the production studio and show how they create the dreams for the young Riley, and how much chaos and focus to make everything run properly and not fall apart with unique take on how dreams are made when we fall asleep. So it's a case that I do love to see more of this series getting a focus, because it's a case that Inside 2 is probably one of my all-time favorite films from this year, and it is a wonderful film in particular. And it's a case I like the aspect of getting more of inside different areas of the mind besides the emotions, of course, even though they're so great. I for one am excited to see how this will come together. The series is not too far along way, as it's releasing in 3 weeks time on Disney Plus from December 11th. Time to break out the cheese and crackers and get to making some cracking inventions as we return to the iconic names of the studio molded by clay for more than 30 years, as everyone's favorite cheese-loving inventor and faithful canine companion are back again, as we have a new trailer for the all-new film of Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. The film will see Gromit become concerned about Wallace's dependency on his inventions when he comes to life from his latest creation of a smart gnome system. However, it soon becomes a concern when an old enemy returns and takes control of the new invention. Do his bidding, it has a mind of its own, in an act of revenge for a past situation. And it's up to Gromit to save his owner, or else Wallace may never invent again. The case that likes of the company and their films is something I'd love to see make a return after all these years, given the first film is almost 20 years old, which is Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Now I've heard a lot of high praise for this upcoming sequel already, and bringing back an iconic silent film like Feathers McGraw is a top choice. And I'm looking forward to check this out when it releases here on Christmas Day on the BBC, and then releasing a week later internationally on Netflix from January 3rd. The second last trailer for this week is seeing a return to a mixed array of characters and figures that is proving the case that being bad has never felt so good, as Mr. Wolf and his friends are back once again, as we received a first trailer for the upcoming sequel to The Bad Guys. The film will follow on about 5 years after the events of the original movie and see the group finding it difficult to try and adjust and be accepted in society after becoming good guys. But soon they are given their chance to prove their worth with one last job, when they are hired by a group of all-female criminals, or the bad girls, so to say. In the case of the original movie, I actually do like it. It has a nice stylized look and aesthetic to it. It's a bit like a comic book aesthetic type to it, but also a little bit indie hosepipe animation in some regards to the past. And it sounds like a decent adaptation and extension to the original book series. And in all sense, I think this looks like it will be worth a good watch and hopefully be as entertaining as the first movie, and worth checking out, which is a bit of a time away in this regards, but the film releases into cinemas from August 1st of next year. And our final trailer to wrap up this week is bringing us to the far reaches of the cosmos, where we wonder what if the thing we have been searching for was the one that finds us first, and bring a whole mess of problems with it, as after a delay and initially getting a trailer well over a year ago, we have received an all-new take and teaser trailer for the upcoming Pixar title of Elio. The film will follow the titular character, 11-year-old with an obsession with aliens and a very active imagination. So when he is beamed up to the Communiverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from galaxies far and wide, Elio is all in for an epic undertaking when he is mistaken as the leader and ambassador of Earth, form new bonds with eccentric alien life forms, and also navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions. Now, it's always a case with the likes of Pixar, they always have some unique ideas and takes of trying something original with their concepts and outcomes, and I think with this one is something interesting. A bit kind of uncertain right now with this trailer and stuff, but it has a lot of potential to come from it, and hopefully the extra bit of time work on it will benefit in the long form. And I'm sure I will check this one out myself when it also releases, when it makes contact in the cinemas from June 13th to next year. And with all of that, that's everything from the trailers that we got from this week.
Now, this is epic.
So we do not have much on the likes of news stories for this week, which seems to be a bit of a continuous trend lately, but given it's probably near the end of the year, it most likely the case just slowing down a bit is my guess. But I may be wrong. But we do have one story that'll be a little roundup of some smaller announcements, and we have this story of a discussion that I will be wondering when we are getting the news for. And it was just at the beginning of this week where we have now officially gotten the content of the first story of the week. That's with the 10th anniversary nominations for the Game Awards, which also gave us a lot of bit of opinionated discussion from the outcome of choices, but I'll give a rundown of the big nominations here. Now, the big award games getting some decent nominee numbers was the top two games with the most nominations were going to Astrobot and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, both with 7 nominations apiece. And running up the top 5 nominated games, with the third most nominated was the anime title of Metaphor ReFantasio getting 6 nominations, then tied with 5 nominations apiece was the card game of Balatro and the recently released remake of Silent Hill 2. Now, there is a lot of other games on the list, and I'll say that many did well with their output and presentation. It's also seen with the 6 games that find themselves as the Game of the Year nominations. As well, Final Fantasy VII, Astrobot, ReFantasio, and Balatro have all gotten a spot on that Game of the Year list. It also comes with 2 more games of a similar nature, and that is with the massive expansion of Elden Ring with Shadow of the Erdtree, and the other being Black Myth Wukong, as kind of Souls-like game. And those choices and list have its appeal, but where a lot of the complaints start to appear. You see, after the release of the nominations, there was a lot of discourse over the choices for some of the Games of the Year nominations, and mainly in particular with Balatro and Shadow of the Erdtree, as the likes of them both were seen as not counting the likes of full games, as particularly with the likes of Shadow of the Erdtree as the likes of them being more of a, not really counting given it's a expansion or DLC, but going off the rules for Game Awards, apparently it does count, which in the case since the original Elden Ring game did win Game of the Year 2 years ago, and it's also the year we had that really dumb kid coming up thinking he's reformed Rabbi Bill Clinton. The likes of Balatro being the indie pick when people feel there was other indie titles with a better choice. One of them I think was Animal Well by Big Mode Games and stuff that made by one person, which from a lot of reception that was really strong. In this case that some had said that likes of a few were snubbed from the big one, being likes of, say the case of like Stellar Blade, Silent Hill 2, some even say a bit of Dragon Age, and a few other nominations spot for games for like, over the year amongst games potential, but just fell just that slightly short. Now personally, I can understand the frustration of those choices and snubs, but I can also respect the case that this was possibly done with a council and probably public opinion in regards about as well going off of reception of these said games to get an idea of what the top choices is. And I can think that with some deserve it, and some I feel they could have added maybe another 2 slots for Game of the Year to give something else a chance, like I can say Silent Hill and Stellar Blade probably would have been the 2 choices that most likely would have gotten a bit more of a strong appeal to it in regards, but who knows in this sense. One thing I can do is provide my own nominations down the line and have them out before the show goes live in about 3 weeks time. And we will see all the awards, the surprises, the announcements, everything, and probably more discourse about this whole thing, because I remember last year when Baldur's Gate was winning everything and Spider-Man didn't win anything, the Sony fanboys went off on them. But I guess we'll have to see. I'll give a little bit of talk about the winners in a bit instead, and hopefully in case that this event will actually let the winners talk and give their like acceptance speeches instead of cutting them off so quickly, and give a lot more time to trailers and announcements. Like that was the complaint last year. But I guess we'll have to see how everything comes along when the Game Awards come along from December 12th. But what are your thoughts on this nominations? Do you think there are some good choices, and what games do you feel got snubbed? good or bad games in particular as well. And what are your choices for the picks for the nominees, which you can find the list down below and the links to the Game Award nominations. Let me know your choices down below and let's discuss them there as well. So our last story is one that's just made up of a few mix and match stories from the quiet week of content. I feel instead of separating them into their own stories, I thought I would just place them together into one piece here. And so let's delve into a few stories from the week that I've seen. If I have any more, let me know down below, and also of course subscribe and like and definitely add them into like the next episodes. It's another week and it's another new addition to the casting list for Christopher Nolan's next movie that already has a strong selection of names with Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway and Lupita Nyong'o as part of the cast. And now we have another addition and a returning face for a previous Nolan film, that is the Batman himself of Robert Pattinson joining the roster of growing stars of this movie. Now of course Pattinson has already appeared in a previous Nolan movie in one film that's seen as most confusing or weakest of his filmography of Tenet. Though his performance was praised, and I did like Pattinson's performance in that. I think with every new casting, it becomes more and more interesting to see how this will come about in the long form, in which those rumored plot points of either helicopters or vampires will be the focus concept of this. Will we see another new casting for next week to make the next weekly series? Who knows, but I guess we shall stay tuned for that in particular, and I'll update if it does. It also seems a bit like deja vu, like I'm just reading the same stories from last week as well, because we have another similar story to last week going off the next one, as we have another story focused on Denzel Washington. As well, last week it was a discussion of him joining a new entry of a popular series of superhero films. We are instead taking on a series of films that broke the mold that he was a part of, which is his approach that he doesn't make sequels to his movies, and that is of course with a series of The Equalizer. So far it has spawned a trilogy that with all of them receiving some decent well-regarded reception with each entry, and it looks like it doesn't seem to be stopping soon. As may be the case, we have another 2 entries on the way, coming to the likes of us with Equalizer 4 and 5, with the leading man in the role once again. So it sounds like a decent concept, and as long as the plots are good, and I would even say maybe they could cross over with the TV series that stars Queen Latifah in the lead role. Somehow, I don't know how it works in regards, it might be the same universe or separate universe, I don't know, but who knows, and they may have what they have in mind, but we'll see how it comes along about over time, and I do like the movie, so I might give them a look over time. Who knows? And lastly, onto a story that will bring a sense of closure for one person's career, we have some news coming to us from the realm of animation, and a change up to a voice from a long-running series that is coming from The Simpsons. There has been quite an array of cast members over the years that have come and gone, the likes of passing on from this life, discontinuing character roles, with one in particular that was a bit of an uncomfortable fourth wall break that they knew about it.
Something that started decades ago and was applauded and inoffensive is now politically incorrect. What can you do?
And moving on after a long career. As with the case of this latter concept for the one today, it was announced that the voice of Milhouse of Pamela Hayden has now retired the voice of the nerdy blue-haired boy himself after playing the character for over 35 years. Now it is a sad shame to see this happen in the likes of retiring after voicing an iconic character for over 30 years, but I feel after a while it was due time to call it a day. Now it's confirmed the character will not be retired and will still appear in most cases with a new voice actor or actress, unless you do the dumb move of just like using her voice as AI, making it sound worse. But hopefully it will be a respectful change for the character and not make him feel even more weird than the character already is in the show. But what are your own thoughts on these news and announcements, and is there any other stories I may have missed from this week? Let me know down below and I could follow up in the next week's episode, but let me know down below all the discussions this week and I'll discuss them there as well. But with all that, that's all the news that we actually have for this week. So in the case to make up for a bit of a quiet week of a media roundup, I thought I would share the likes of a special little segment to help promote a concept push for a friend of mine and see if there's some interest in getting an appeal and support to develop a creative mind. So about a day or two ago, a friend of mine named Ash unveiled a very dapper and fancy frog in a scarf and looking like a very polite and distinguished fellow was unveiled to us in our little group chat. And it was quite a wholesome looking creation. And I always love when friends and people I care about create something new, the new crocheted, knitted, cross stitch, or any other forms, as I have a few on hand in particular. As like the case from like my friend Sunny, I got like the lovely little rainbow bee here, as well as a other funny little froggy boy. As well as the case of back in 2020, I got a nice little like cyan blue Among Us crewmate, which is like, you know, proper dapper. And of course my personal favourite one is from the dear lovely Starlight with this funny handsome little gentleman of Glep from Smiling Friends. Love him. But it's a case instance that it's some very distinguished gentlemen's of stuff, and for sure at a point in time getting a distinguished fellow added to my collection, of course, with that lovely little frog. Now at the moment it is early stages and there is a sense of negotiation with prices and all their stuff, but I offered as well to see if there would be an interest of people to my audience here, of course, if anyone would be interested in, helping out a fellow creative and purchasing them stuff and, supporting a fellow creative mind. And if it's the case you are interested, you can let me know down below in the comments, and also the case that you can follow the creator on socials and down the line to help them create their own fancy frog for yourself. I'll update in the future in the case instances once I get everything sorted out and stuff like that, and we'll have everything, get the go ahead for it and where to follow for it. In all cases, supporting someone with a strong talent and creation is always a positive. And of course, I would recommend to support them in their endeavors, and of course, in all instances as well, give them plenty of time to create them as well too, because, they're one person doing it, so any time with patience makes things perfect. With all that, that's everything from the special segment, and if you want to shout out your own support stuff and want to have something to promote and everything, let me know down below, and I will, kind of shout them out in a later episode, and share with me any links and stuff, and I will do so as well. But yeah, if the case down the line, go check them out and support their little Dapper Frog collection, and help support a good cause. And now with all of that ends episode 79 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings for probably a little over 20 minutes at this point, but you get the gist of me at this point. Anyways, let's talk about a few updates in regards to the channel. So we'll start with reviews. So I actually have started writing up the reviews that I had mentioned as well, the double feature, and another one that I'm starting off first with is Deadpool and Wolverine. I am trying to make it a case since a bit of a meta take, where a point that my own brain is finding with myself in regards because in the comics Deadpool has discussions with his own mindset, there's little blocks of text come up where it's his brain talking in the case of something like this. Alright, anyways, we got a review coming out of this. You can check it out soon. Like and subscribe, help this man stop listening to the voices. Yeah, something like that in regards to things where the mind is talking to him and all that sort of stuff. You get the gist of it. And in the case, Wall Robot and Transformers 1 double feature will be coming along as well in due time. I'm going to get them focused on time as well. I was a bit busy this week in regards because I was studying for a theory test and I passed. So I'm going to be behind the wheel. I'm going to become Ryan Gosling soon enough.
I don't carry a gun. I drive.
Yeah, other ones will be coming along as well. The Dune duology will be coming out. I'll do some TV series. I'm going to do Last of Us near the time Season 2 comes along. Wonka's coming along. There's going to be a few short ones, probably for Back to Black, Apprentice, maybe Venom. I saw 3 movies this week as well in particular. I saw Venom 3, I saw Paddington 3, and I saw Gladiator 2. Venom 3 it's alright. It's a bit weird, but it's fine. Paddington 3, I adored. I teared up a bit near the end. This little wholesome fucking thing. And Gladiator 2 actually thought entertaining. Had some issues, but entertaining wise in that regards. Besides that point then, gameplays. I will be doing more gameplays in particular. I have 2 videos still left to on my file here, which is just the next 2 parts of Last of Us before the Left Behind DLC. I am going to get back to playing more games on the Switch and Xbox. It's just been a case that I've been up most mornings now, for new work and stuff, that I'm just exhausted, so I'm trying to find time to work around it. I will get to it at some point, so bear with me. I'm going to have some more gameplays and stuff for you down the line, and maybe some festive, but I don't know. I'll see the case if there's anything festive to play around the holiday season, but who knows. And in the case of long forms, I've already mentioned the case as well. Game Award nominations will be coming along soon. I'll get them out before the 12th of December. The AI video is still coming along as well. I'm going to find some time to work around it, on lunch or something like that. The rewatchathons, they are coming. I'm going to try and get at least written up by the end of this year, or at least start filming, and then if I get edited by the end of this year and start into the new year, that's fine. At least part 1. And in the case of any long form videos or horror sport, I'm going to try and get done as well. It might be delayed in the horror sport, but I'll see in that regards. I can get them done in particular. But I think with all of that, I think I'm going to wrap it up there for now. So if you enjoyed my content and want to see more from me and more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new videos every single week, and I'm trying my damn hardest to basically pump out as much entertaining content. It varies on people's appeals and stuff like that. And I'm hoping at least by the end of the year to reach 100 subs. I'm down to 90 now, in the case I still need to get 10 more. But hopefully if you get some support out there, I will appreciate lots of stuff. And let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed down below, on this episode, everything the new releases, your thoughts on the trailers, your opinions on the short news stories, as well as case if you're interested in those little dapper frogs. Let me down below and I can get contact with the person and find the right socials and stuff like that in that regards. But yeah, I think I'll end the episode there for now. As always, of course, you all stay being wonderful people. Have a great day every day, do many great things, and of course to keep being you, because no one else can do what you do. I'm gonna go reduce my over talking now and go work on this video. But as always, you all stay being wonderful people, and I'll see you all in the next episode. So take care, keep being you, stay being awesome. I'll see you later.